Hello, ReverendCrystalCox here. Goddess Church, Washington. This is a series of doctrines of the church. My church. I don't speak for anyone affiliated with my church, any pastors, reverends, healers, anyone but myself. You don't have to believe what I believe to be a part of my church. It's an all-denomination church. However, it is live and let live, and I'm certain about my beliefs and my doctrine on what I believe for me. And we teach people to be certain to know what they believe for themselves. To make sure that you are not creating your reality based on unconscious beliefs that aren't really yours. It may belong to your grandmother. Alright, anyway, the point is not that I'm not open to other people sharing things with me. Just know that I am not going to change my mind on these things because I know for me. I don't know for you. I know for me. Yes, all of this yammer ahead of time because this is a sensitive topic and many don't agree with me, but I don't need anyone to agree with me on any of these doctrines. Start your own church. But even if you don't do any of that, know your own belief for yourself. Okay? Okay, so this one is the doctrine of suicide. Okay, it kind of goes with death, the doctrine of death. And death doula, which is helping people to cross over that have been diagnosed terminally ill. So, suicide. I'm very familiar with suicide. I have known people who have killed themselves. Several. In high school, probably 4 in my lifetime. And I have wanted to die for decades, right? Like, I was like, oh, God, I gotta be done here, right? I just want to cross over. I just want to leave. Especially when, like, I knew there was cures, right? The FDA won't let the cures. There's constant war. There's just so much oppression. And even when you're free, you're not free. And blah, blah, blah. So I did my healing work, did my spiritual work. But still, was wanted to die a lot. And that shifted for me dramatically over the last 10 years. But especially the whole big kawow of that was 2016 when I heard about the Mandela effect. And I realized that I had shifted realities. That I came from a reality where the sun was yellow and now it's white. There's a whole bunch of different changes. I won't go too far down that rabbit hole in this video, but I realized clearly that I had shifted, and I realized that I was no longer on the Sagittarius arm, I was on the Orion arm. So I had moved thousands of light years. Believe it, don't care. I'd say that a lot, but I know for me, I don't know for you. I realized that I had shifted realities, and I had physical body changes. My heart was in a different location, my kidney, lots of other things. But when I realized this full-on knowing, it was pretty clear to me that killing myself was ridiculous. Because I would die, this human body would die, but the consciousness, much like some sort of computer program, would just be shifted to another version of me. And then I would continue working through the traumas, the programs, the triggers to be the best me. And so I had been doing that my whole life, working on all that. But at that point, I went a whole other level with it because I realized that I was projecting reality, right? So not only am I like reporting on bad things, but in me talking about them all the time, I'm creating them in my life. So I realized that I didn't want to die, I wanted to live, and that I needed to work on every program and every trigger to perfect my own reality, that I'd shifted. How did I shift? How do I shift? What is all of this timeline shifting? And that's for other videos. But that shifted forever of me wanting to commit suicide. I think most people do. I mean, most people I've ever known have wanted to commit suicide at some point. We had a death here a few years back. They were in a tree for like 6 months, the body was. They went up there to kill themselves, and they were in a hammock. And they had this hydrogen or this something where they just put on, you could take one breath and it's gone, right? And I saw the woman in California that was making these and selling them, and the controversy over it. And you see that her husband had suffered for years and he wanted to die. But the medical system, you know, and the government, everybody's like, keep them alive, no matter what. Oh, it's okay if they're mentally, emotionally, physically tortured. Just keep them alive. Okay, they may want to die. We don't want them to die. Now, whether that's to get more medical money, to make more money off your Social Security number, to whatever creepy, nefarious things they do, they force people to stay alive, and they put the quantity of life over the quality of life, much like they're doing now with the virus, okay? People are that afraid of dying of something that 0.3%, I mean, you die more in car accidents, you die more in suicide, you die more domestic violence, drug overdoses. It's just illogical, okay? It's just completely illogical. So if someone wants to die, and you have all these government agencies and all the cops and everybody in the mental institutes and everything come in and take that person and force them to live. Okay, I don't believe in that, okay? Suicide is a pro-life choice. When I was in Boulder, Colorado in 2010, I dated this person who was getting a master's degree, and her thesis was on suicide and as being pro-choice. And she had all this documentation about, and she'd had a friend who had talked about killing himself for 10 years, finally did, was miserable for 10 years, every day, all the time. And in her thesis, it was about the person's right to choose whether they live or die, right? And so people say, oh, check in on your friends, you know, so they don't kill themselves. Well, what do you care? You talk to them now and then. Like, if someone talks to me now and then, I'm not really part of their life. They don't really know what I do, who I am. The things that they do know about me, they don't necessarily like or align with. And this is with, like, most families or, like, past friends. I mean, if you're close and you're interacting every day, it's going to be a bit of a loss. But if you understand life and death, you also trust that that person's choice is that person, and you also trust the Great Spirit. They would have a sign, they'd have something big stop them if they weren't meant to cross over. But the people that, they're like, oh, I wish you would have committed suicide. What the fuck? Excuse my language. I mean, they weren't in the person's life. They had nothing to do with them. They didn't like their photos, like their writing. They didn't participate in their life in any way. But it was so sad when they died. And why is that? Because they question their own immortality? The doctrine of my church is that if you want to kill yourself, that's your right. Okay, that's nothing to do with me. Nothing to do with the police or the ambulances or anyone. If you don't want to kill yourself and you're desperately sad and you want help, then ask for help. Start by asking the Great Spirit. Letting your own mind hear that you want help. You know, talk to Saint Germain, to Jesus, Archangel Michael, guides, angels. Put the intention out there. Make your thoughts all the time on what you want. So if you love writing or photography or hiking or certain things that you love, focus on what you love, and then it'll draw more of that to you. And that's kind of what we teach. But if you're focused on dying and death all the time and you want to die, that's your choice. And these people that come in and try to stop you all the time, that aren't part of your life, that's their stuff. I've known so many people that when people kill themselves, they say, oh, I wish, what could I have done? They beat themselves up for months and years, and sometimes just never stop beating themselves up of what could I have done to save their life. Well, you can't do anything to save my life. And why would you want to? You don't know me. You don't, you might care about me like as a fellow human being, but come on, My life is my business. And in that moment, whether I choose to take my life or not, has nothing to do with you. You could not have stopped the person. If you feel guilty because you didn't answer the phone, I could have answered the phone and stopped him. No, in that moment, if they were meant to be stopped, the Great Spirit would have given them something to stop them. But the least things that are responsible for the incident is you. You can't stop someone else from committing suicide. And if you happen to be there and you do it, great. Okay? Then you're like, oh God, oh, I'm so great, I saved your life. You're home, you're okay now, right? And then they go away. They're not part of your life. They don't visit you. They don't play with you. They don't walk with you. You know, they just, whoo, I'm so glad I saved your life. And then you get to be depressed and miserable again. No changes, just we saved your life. Aren't we grand? So, the doctrine of suicide for my church is suicide is a pro-choice issue. It is my life, my body. It is your right to do with your body what you want to do with your body, and no one gets to tell you don't. My doctrine never applies to anybody in Washington, so anybody under 17. The spiritual contracts is all different. And I'm not promoting to people to kill themselves. I don't even believe there's any such thing, because you wake up in another reality. There's no such thing as death to the person that's dying. Death is only to the living. And it's also the living who like to martyr themselves. They're like, oh my gosh, so-and-so killed themselves, so I have something to focus the rest of my life on to be miserable. Their choice that I had no control over. Okay? So, we don't beat people up for trying to kill themselves. We don't try to talk people out of killing themselves. We help people to find their beliefs, find their passion, find what they're excited about. In that, they'll have a will to live, and they'll create the reality they want to live in, because they'll be happy and they won't be trying to please all of the other people around them. That's what makes most people want to die. One, they don't have money, they don't have a home, they don't have people's attention. Someone broke up with them and they're completely fogged over and delusional. You know, yes, help them through that, help them to see their worth. But most people that go through breakups and it makes them want to die, they don't really want to die. They just feel this miserable, free-falling pain, and they need you to help them to refocus the attention. Not to be like, don't die, don't die, don't die, just don't die. No, help them focus on knowing their belief, knowing that there was a reason the relationship broke up, or or a reason that the issue or whatever it was happened, and that death is an option. One of the most profound things someone said to me when I was talking about it and wanting to die a lot, on and off in my 20s and 30s, was that's okay. If you want to die, that's your choice. I love you either way. And that's the best gift you can give someone that's saying they want to die. Instead of trying to talk them out of wanting to die, they want to die. Just say, well, I love you either way, and I'm here if you want to talk about anything. Don't badger them, don't try to rescue them, don't try to save them, or you've literally laid your life on the line, martyring to them. And if they're playing victim, they're just going to drain your energy over, oh, I'm going to kill myself, I'm going to kill myself, I'm going to kill myself. Then it totally ruins your life. And that's kind of what this person was pointing out to me. That that's a lot to lay on another person, for one. And for two, you're loved whether you die or whether you live. So then you go, oh, I guess I'll live then. Go get some ice cream, go to a movie. You know, but when you're in that depths of grief and negativity and sorrow, for those of you in that don't really want to die, you just want to feel better, right? They're kind of different. So if you change your focus on something that you like, it could be spaghetti, it could be chocolate ice cream. Anything at all that helps you to change your focus, even for a minute. I think some things say 17 seconds is all it takes to focus on something different. Babies laughing, kittens playing, read a book, watch a funny movie, anything at all to change the redirect. Because every negative emotion, every free-falling emotion that makes you want to die is a thought. Okay? But if you get to that point of chronic thought of wanting to die, first of all, also people don't realize, we're quantum. We created. When one of my friends, she talked about it all the time, all the freaking time. I babysat her, like, she's older than me, but the psychiatrist had to have somebody, like, sign for her for the weekend so she could be at home because she was a cutter. Well, the thing was, she talked about it all the time. She acted it out all the time. And then she was in a car accident, and she died in a car accident in a head-on collision. So you're going to draw it to you based on your thoughts. Okay, so I say we because it's the church, but my doctrine and belief is that suicide is a personal choice. It's not other people's responsibility. It's not sin. It's you create your own reality based on your own personal beliefs. And so the doctrine of death and death doula will be in other videos. I guess just to clarify that I believe that you're right, that you own your body. And that the medical system and the health boards and the psychiatrists and your family and your friends and everybody in the community and everybody seeking some cause doesn't have a right to convince you to live if you don't want to live. What their better approach would be is to help you find out what your excitement is, what your joy is, the nature of how you create reality. Because suicide's... you're going to learn it. So if you did it in one reality, and we've all done it in a past life or in a parallel reality. I mean, if I've thought about it as many times as I have over the last 30 years, I probably did it in some of the different parallel lives. So I have that knowledge, right? And well, maybe some do that for that knowledge, but then they just wake up in another version of themselves to go through the rest of their lessons. And that's what I know and know to be true for me. It's not really a belief about moving realities and all that. For me, it's a knowing. You get to decide what's for you. Now, God bless you all.